You're welcome to another What We Wish Our Parents Knew episode. For sure, what's our question?
I wish to tell my mom that I so much love having sex and I can't do without it. I'm afraid and I want someone to help me out.
Okay, first off, is this a boy or a girl?
A girl.
Wow, interesting. Okay, I mean, would it have made a difference if it was a boy or a girl? Probably not. But this issue of sex is something we have to talk about. Because I'll be honest with you, parents, for every 4 responses that we get, one has to do with sex. And for a 13-year-old girl to say she is so engaged in sex, enjoying it so much, she wants help or she needs help, she wants to stop, but she doesn't really know what to do. It shows that there is a missing link somewhere. And that missing link is that parents, we're not talking to our children enough. We're not talking to them about sex. And we're not supposed to wait until they're 13 to start talking to them about it. I've said this repeatedly. Sex is everywhere. Television, billboards, music videos. It's incredible. And I don't know how come we just choose to believe that our children are walking around and not seeing anything. Part of the problem that parents have talking to their children about sex is that they feel that if they bring up the topic, that they're putting ideas in their children's minds or they're giving them permission. It's as if, it's like license to practice. That nothing can be further from the truth. We live in a highly sexual-oriented, sexually explicit society where people are doing all manner of things openly. In a lot of places, I was reading the other day on social media, it wasn't in Nigeria, thankfully, where there was this couple having sex in the stadium in front of thousands of people. How bad can it be? But you see, we need to realize that it is only natural that if our children are confronted with all these images and all these innuendos about sex, they would begin to get curious. Their bodies will probably do them somehow, and they probably want to explore. So why don't we start talking to them? So I remember, I was facilitating a program a couple of weeks ago, and this woman, said her 6-year-old son had asked her whether she and her husband, that's his father, had sex. As she was even asking me the question as to what she should have answered her son, it was clear that she was extremely uncomfortable. She was sweating, she was fanning herself. It was pretty hilarious. But then I realized that it was a serious problem. There was a poll that was done on Twitter a couple of months ago by some Nigerian guy. And of the 1,700 plus people who responded to the question, at what age did your parents have the sex talk with you? 76% of the Twitter users said never. That's worrisome. Is it awkward to talk about sex with your children? Definitely. Is it important that we do it? More than important. We need to do it. At what age should we start having that conversation? As early as age 2. Having talks about sex does not mean you're talking only about the act. It means that you're talking about everything that has to do with sexuality. So the starting point will be their body parts. Rather than whispering about the body parts, some people find it so uncomfortable to call the body parts by their actual names. So the penis has become your wibi, and the vagina has become something else that they're whispering. And that is the starting point. If we cannot talk about it, we begin to make it look like it's dirty. There's really nothing dirty about sex, especially when it's done in the right context. It is supposed to be a very pleasurable act. So the starting point with your 2-year-olds, with your 3-year-olds, is talking about body parts. As they grow older, you then begin to test their knowledge. What is it that they know? So probably you're watching a movie. Yes, you should have checked the ratings and all that to be sure that there's nothing explicit. But let's assume that for one reason or the other, you didn't. Or you checked it and there was nothing that alerted you that there will be some sex scenes. And a scene comes up. Rather than scrambling to look for the remote, just calm down. Look at your child. If your child is pretending as if they're not looking, okay, they know something, but they don't want mommy or daddy to know that they know something. That would be a good opportunity to say, this thing that they're doing. Can you imagine what's going on? and then the child now giggles or something, you then have a conversation. Just make sure that your conversations are age appropriate. You see, if you wait till your child is 11 before you start having talks about sex, it's the same thing as waiting till your child is 11 and throwing a book to the child and say read without teaching the child about alphabets. So you don't just go bam and start talking when a man meets a woman and they this and they that. You start gradually. You start by feelings. You start by talking about issues. Make it seem as casual as possible. Even if you are sweating, do as if you are not sweating. Just make it seem like it's a natural talk. And then your 13-year-old comes and says, oh, there's this boy I have a crush on. That is part of the sex talk. Talking about dating. You know, unfortunately, a lot of Nigerian parents, when they hear dates, the first thing they see is sex. It's as if, hey, my child wants to spoil. That's not what it's about. Sometimes it's about companionship. Am I saying we should encourage them to start dating as early as 13? That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying have the conversations. So how do you have the conversations? 1, make it very natural. 2, lay it on gently. Don't start and don't make it a once and for all talk. Gradually, different issues, and the more you do it, the less awkward it gets, the more comfortable you are, and hopefully you would have created a safe space where your child can come to you to talk about anything. Now, let's not kid ourselves. You see, some children will become more sexually active will become sexually active at an earlier age than others. Prevention, they say, is better than cure. So part of the talk should include talk about safe sex and birth control. I know that it is every parent's desire for their child to wait until they are married before they have sex. It was our parents' desire, it was our grandparents' desire, it was our great-grandparents' desire, but it didn't happen all the time. Let's be realistic. It will be double jeopardy if the child comes down with HIV, STDs, or unwanted pregnancies. So when you're having that talk, talk to them about responsible sex. Talk to them about the emotions involved. Not just the physical act, the emotions and the mental stability that is required to handle that kind of relationship. Talk to them about gender issues. Because, you know, I facilitated a teens program over summer. And out of the blues, I just asked them, how many of you have been approached by people of the same sex for relationships? I kid you not, 70% of them put up their hands. What that means, and I'm talking of in Nigeria, did I add that? Yes, the program was held in Nigeria. What that means is that it is a lot more rampant than we think it is, even though it is illegal. Parents, we can't shy away from the sex talk or the sex talks because, like I said, it's not just one big talk. Our children will keep coming up with issues. For the young girl who's 13, who so much loves having sex, she has a problem, and I pray that she does find the courage to talk to her mom or her dad about it because she needs help. It is not normal for a 13-year-old to be addicted to sex. Let's call it what it is. We need to keep reinforcing values. One of the values that we must reinforce is waiting till the appropriate time to engage in sex. Parents, till we come your way next time, keep reinforcing values as you parent in this digital age.